Welcome to Crossroads. Folks, looks like Donald Trump is actually serious about having Canada become the 51st state of the U.S. Look, I thought he was joking. Maybe some of you thought he was joking. It turns out he is not. Donald Trump looks like he's actually serious about having Canada become the 51st U.S. state. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he was caught on a hot mic stating that Trump is not joking about the suggestion. And Donald Trump actually confirmed this as well during a recent interview. Now, first off, Trump made the suggestion on this during a private conversation with Justin Trudeau before the presidential inauguration. You might remember the time Trump had floated the idea of tariffs on Canada, Mexico, China, which have now been rolled out, by the way, over the problems of drug trafficking and illegal immigration. Now, that caused shockwaves through the Canadian system. Trudeau and others were saying Canada, they basically won't be able to survive that kind of tariff. Trudeau flew to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump, and afterwards, it was reported that Trump had jokingly suggested that, well, you know, if Canada can't get by without this massive trade deficit, they can't survive this, and maybe they should just become the 51st state, and Justin Trudeau could become the governor. And Trump has since continued to mention this. A lot of us maybe thought he was joking. I thought he was joking. It looks like he's actually not joking. Justin Trudeau was just caught on a hot mic saying as much during the Canada-U.S. Economic Summit in Toronto just last week. Watch this.
Trump has it in mind that one of the easiest ways to do it is absorbing our country. And it is a real thing. In my conversation with him.
Now, look, basically, according to Trudeau, Trump has suggested that given the trade deficits and given his plan for tariffs on Canada, the easiest way forward, the least painful method for Canada to get out of this is to become a U.S. state. And look, since then, Donald Trump himself also directly confirmed this during an interview with Fox News host Bret Baier that aired before the Super Bowl. Watch this.
He said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
I guess we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. Trump has continuously been bringing this option up and even stating this move could benefit Canada by making it more secure from a military standpoint. Canadians, for their part, they don't seem too keen on the idea. Maybe not yet. Maybe they'll have a change of heart as the tariffs move forward. We will see. In other news now, Anthony Fauci is now being investigated at the state level, multiple states in fact, for his role in all the COVID-19 response protocols. And look, right now, Fauci, he was pardoned by Biden shortly before Biden left office. But that presidential pardon, even though it was pretty sweeping, it only applies at the federal level. What does that mean? Well, it means that states can technically still prosecute him and at the very least investigate him. Now, Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill wrote this. She said, I've joined my colleagues in requesting information on Dr. Fauci's role in the COVID-19 response. And she added, his shocking pardon by Joe Biden does not prohibit any state-level investigations or legal proceedings. And she adds that Louisiana will follow the evidence. Now, in a post on the Attorney General's website, she gives more details on why they're bringing this case. What is the legal ground for this, right? And she cites a congressional report that actually lays out some potential issues. Here's what it says. This is from the official Louisiana Office of the Attorney General website, and it says this. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill joined South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson and a coalition of state attorneys general in an investigation into Dr. Anthony Fauci's role in the COVID-19 pandemic response, demanding accountability for alleged mismanagement, misleading statements, and suppression of scientific debate. It adds that in a letter to Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the attorneys general commend ongoing congressional efforts to uncover misconduct and request state-level cooperation in pursuing any violation of state laws. And they note on the congressional report, these are some of the key findings. It says this includes, quote, origins of COVID-19. Evidence suggests Dr. Fauci worked to discredit the lab leak theory despite mounting evidence supporting it. It says misleading Congress on NIH funding. Dr. Fauci allegedly provided false testimony regarding NIH-funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It also says NIH oversight failures. The NIH reportedly mismanaged taxpayer funds by failing to properly oversee grants to EcoHealth Alliance, which funneled funding to the Wuhan lab in China. It also says, quote, suppression of scientific dissent. Prominent scientists who raised concerns about vaccine risks were allegedly silenced, limiting public awareness of potential side effects. Now, again, these are the key points that they allege justifies this state-level investigation in many states. This, again, will apply to state law. If the individual states have laws that they believe are violated by these red flags that are being raised, well, we could see some state-level charges. Dr. Fauci, he has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. And he alleges that this is kind of just politicized prosecution. He also alleges that the reports on him have resulted in multiple threats on the lives of himself and his family members. And remember also, despite those threats that he alleges he's received, this comes on the heels of other Trump moves against Dr. Fauci, including eliminating his security detail. Fauci had a very large security detail that was being funded. Trump eliminated the funding for that, meaning Fauci has to pay for it himself. But also just recently, other things as well. The DOGE department, Elon Musk, the investigations they're doing, the DOGE department has announced they got rid of plans for a Fauci museum exhibit, and that Fauci museum exhibit was set to cost $182 million. The plan was discarded by the Department of Health and Human Services. No more museum exhibit, at least for the next 4 years, probably. And also on the topic of DOGE and cost cutting and investigations, well, the White House has said that the amount is now in the billions of dollars. Epoch Times said this. After 3 weeks, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, has made over $1 billion in cuts, according to the number from the White House. And some of the biggest savings reckoned by the White House, well, it says it stems from the cancellation of more than 100 contracts related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. And it says Trump's day one executive orders included one seeking the end in DEI in the federal government. And it says the White House estimates those cancellations alone, just the DEI stuff, saved over $1 billion. It notes that DOGE also ended a $748 million contract for a new embassy in South Sudan. Smaller cuts hit subscriptions for the news outlets like Politico and others, right? From NASA, for example, $500,000, $26 million in contracts for executive coaching and strategic communication. And notes as well that DOGE's X account unveiled almost $1 billion in additional cuts on the evening of February 10th. Now, look, it's actually getting to the point now where Trump is suggesting that, hey, maybe we don't even need to, maybe we don't even need to cut things to cut taxes. Maybe the U.S. deficit isn't even being caused by a lot of the stuff we thought it was. Maybe the deficit can actually be eliminated just by eliminating fraud and misuse and people stealing money from the American taxpayers and all this other crazy stuff we're funding. Maybe he can just free up and get us out of debt by just cutting the fat. That's what he's now suggesting. And look, also there's more to come. There's still a lot of time left on the DOGE department, and they claim they've already uncovered, even like Medicare, Medicaid, $100 billion in possible misused funds. And even on the lower end of that, they're saying it's at least $50 billion in misuse. Maybe people just defrauding the system. We will find out soon, maybe. There's a lot going on right now with legal cases kind of firing back and forth. Trump is just openly ignoring some of those judges trying to stop him from doing this. He's saying they're out of their jurisdiction. It's going to get interesting, folks. Get ready for the legal battle because that is now beginning. That said, hit the like button, leave a comment. And as always, folks, please take care of yourselves, stay informed, and stay free. Thank you.